Almost a year now I've been trying to replicate the style of Arcane, a show that inspired me more than anything else and shifted me from creating different sort of things in Blender and After Effects without particular purpose toward something specific, and namely I began dreaming of working on Arcane. But I'm too shitty. Yeah, sure, I try my best and even sent an email to Riot Games with my biggest work, asking for any kind of job or unpaid internship, and
guess what?
fucking nothing. Yeah, sure, I think they wouldn't even want me for free. But it was kinda obvious, so after I finished crying, I remembered that I wanted to make a video where I tried to copy some scene from Arcane shot for shot. A genius idea, and I never seen anything like it before. Never mind, let's get started.
Okay, let's go.
So, for recreating I chose this scene from Arcane. It's kinda cool and atmospheric and most importantly not too difficult, so I don't lose my mind while recreating it. So this scene have basically 3 shots, and creating each one will involve modeling, texturing and animation. And sure, at the end I will compose everything in After Effects. Yeah, not in the nuke. Have you seen this price? No, fuck this shit, I'm broke. Anyway, let's move on to shot number 1.
Let's go.
First we check the reference and start blocking out something similar using primitive shapes, and probably the hardest part of this stage is getting the perspective right, and I couldn't find the perfect value, so I just eyeballed everything. Luckily the camera is static in the shot, so you won't see this as in the render. After that we give it a somewhat decent look by adding details and throwing on some blockout materials. And now, if your vision is -6 and you take off your glasses and squint, it actually starts to look like the reference. But now, it's time to make sure even people with -3 vision won't see any major difference from the original scene. So let's get into texturing. For the texturing I use 2 techniques, first with Blender's add-on Paint, and the second one that I saw on channel Lighting Boy Studio, when you paint in Photoshop and then applying the image as texture with UV projected from camera view. I decided to paint the first scene using second method, cause the camera is static and the scene have many details, and hand painting every single object in Paint will be a massive horror, so there is no point to busting your ass. So let's get into painting. Luckily I went to art school as a kid and I was ranked 3rd in my class, from the bottom. Yeah, drawing wasn't really my thing, because sitting there and drawing the fruit and vase 100 times from 30 different angles, it was total drag. Anyway, you don't need elite skills here, just slap on base texture, some artifacts, a few shadows and highlights, and boom, you're the new Bob Ross. And if you find some high-end stylized brushes, even the Mona Lisa will get lost here. Now save everything and jump into Blender. Then you select all objects, go to the camera view, and in the edit mode you create UV maps using function project from view. Then apply an image as texture and there it is. Looks beautiful, if you don't turn your head. Now let's get into animation. For the animation I placed a reference from Arcane into the camera as background image and roughly animated the main points and timings. Then I touched everything up, added small details and movements, checking against the reference, and you might say, you little shit, this looks like a total copy-paste, but you'll be right. However, you also need to know how to copy, especially from such hardcore nerds who created Arcane. Anyway, here's the result. Pretty good. Now let's move on to the second shot. In this shot Jinx is in a close-up, and that's why I'll have to fix her model, because the one I have is suck. So I'll need to work on the detailing, and the most obvious thing is to rework the hair, because it's a nightmare. That's it. Now let's get to background. Compared to the first scene, this and the next one shots is a lot easier, cause there's less objects. And anyway, the process is the same. There are few objects and small details in the scene, so I'll be texturing this shot with ARCANE add-on. In principle, the process is similar. You do the unwrap, scribble on the objects layer by layer, and voila. Also, it will be very helpful if you download some simple brush pack for Blender, specifically with the square brush that works perfectly in this style. For the animation I apply the secret copying technique. Also, I threw a noise modifier on some of the bones. It's a truly cool thing, I mean
real trap shit.
And thanks to it the character looks much more alive. And the third and the last scene, this is a firelight chilling near the lamp. So we create the poor guy, throw a simple rig on him, paint him with our familiar ARCANE and sheesh, hell yeah.
Oh my god!
The lamp was a bit more stressful at first. I tried to texture it through ARCANE too, but it turned out like total shit. There were too many details on it, so I painted it in Photoshop instead. And after the animation, here what I've got. Oh no, not that, this.
Yes sir, yes sir.
Now it's time for the final stage, compositing. So, it's time to make sure that everything we slapped us looking at least like an average replica and not some trashy $2 knockoff from Temu. So, we throw on Lumetri color, tweak the parameters until it looks like the original. Then throw on various overlays, transitions, masks, lens flares and so on and so forth. And now, after the whole composition is finally put together, I present you an incredible average replica of scene from ARCANE. Yeah,